Many Magic the Gathering players ask the question, is it worth it to buy a Strixhaven commander deck? Rather, that question much more accurately should be, is it worth it to pay the price of $39.99 for a Strixhaven commander deck? Yep. Despite rumors that this year's Strixhaven commander decks might see a price reduction, they have hit the shelves with the same MSRP as ever, despite the fact that we have seen this exact same product with this exact same number of cards offered for exactly half this price all throughout last year. So we're doing the same dance again, or are we? Because while this year's commander decks are tied to the plane of Strixhaven, just as last year's were to Ikoria, there are some interesting changes both in contents and design philosophy. But surely the same professor who berated his loyal viewers to never again accept a commander product at this price point can't come before you today with a straight face and argue that these commander decks are some of, if not the very best, in years. Or can he? Let's take a look. A Commander 2021 Strixhaven deck contains the following: a 100-card ready-to-play Commander deck composed of 2 foils and 98 non-foil cards, 10 double-sided tokens, and a life tracker, as well as a deck box and 1 foil-etched display commander. So you'll notice a few changes here, and the biggest one I think is this so-called foil-etched display commander, which I can describe to you as simply a really thick magic card. I like that it has a magic card back on it, and while it isn't a real magic card, can be used as a placeholder, I suppose, for your commander. Though what I really wish they'd do is simply give us 1 copy of the commander in foil and another copy of it in non-foil, and just leave gimmicks such as these on the drawing board. This particular gimmick replaces the other gimmick of the oversized cards that once came in commander decks. So long, oversized cards. Pour one out, I believe is the phrase. Speaking of foils, we are now down to just 2 foil cards per commander deck. So far, these foils here appear more or less flat out of the box, though time will only tell on how well that lasts. Compared to the foils of the $19.99 commander decks of last year, which came fresh pringled from the box, it is already an improvement. Oh, so is that why these decks cost literally twice as much? I mean, the contents are near identical at this point. $40 instead of $20 gets you 17 new cards instead of 8. Oh, and 2 foils instead of 1. In my day, we would say big whoop. Do you kids know what I mean if I say big whoop? Ask your grandparents. Everything else is the same as well. They both have the same life wheel, they both have 10 double-sided tokens, and they both have a deck box. Well, a cardboard box. The deck box this year does hold sleeved cards, but it will only hold single-sleeved commander decks, not double. And I'm really torn because, on premise, this is just baloney. I mean, these 2 products are the exact same components. 100-card playable commander decks, yet one is $40 instead of $20. It's $20 more for what? For 9 original designed cards as a part of this? That equals $20 more? And yet, because they also control how good they will make those original made for commander cards, the 17 in here are, of course, better than the 8 in here. Because of course they'll do that. I'm not going to lie to you out of principle. These are great new cards for Commander. And I don't just mean powerful. In fact, if these were some of the original made for Commander powerhouses of the past, I could at least whinge on about that. But no, this year's selection of original card designs are, quite frankly, exactly what Commander truly needs and wants. While obviously between all 5 decks there's a lot of cards to discuss individually, if I were to speak in a general sense, I'd say that I don't spot anything like a Fierce Guardianship, or Dockside Extortionist, or Edgar Markov level of busted. There's nothing here that's going to drive the prices of these on the secondary market up through the roof. But that being said, they are not, I repeat, they are not the weak, watered-down silliness like most of the designs in the $20 decks. These cards hit the sweet spot just right, and many really dive deep into new, fun, build-around-me space that is exactly what this format thrives on. And I really just feel like I'm being held hostage by my hobby here. Just as they can control what gets reprinted, they can control the quality of new card designs and intentionally make the near identical material components of these two products dramatically different in terms of performance. To be blunt, in terms of gameplay, the $40 decks are better than the $20 decks. Costs Wizards of the Coast the exact same to design and reprint great cards as it does for them to just design, okay cards, but it helps justify the doubly high price on this. I hate it, in principle. Capitalism, but I'm gonna buy it because there's some great new cards in here, and that's not all. While the mana bases are still stuffed full of tapped out doldrums, there's an almost 50-50 split between the upgradable jank and, well, not high-end land cards to say, but certainly better commander mana base inclusions. Now I'm sure it helps that these are 2-color commanders. Putting together a good mana base for 2 colors is a lot easier than one for 3, 4, or 5. And as always, I would have liked to see the made for multiplayer Battle Bond lands included as one-ofs here, but these are far, far from the worst mana bases ever constructed for commander precons. And like I said, there's not even a price gouged deck of the bunch. While Quandrix and Lorehold seem to be 2 of the favorites among players, we're not seeing anything like last year's Ikoria mishap, where a single deck was selling for $90 each due to it having one overpowered card of misery. And these decks are available right now at your local game store, ahead of Target, Walmart, and Amazon. So try as I may, I just can't hate on the practices here, because wow, is that a great gift. Right now, if you want to go order this on Amazon or pick one up at Walmart, you have to wait until Friday, unless you want to go down to your local game store today and pick up your commander deck. Oh, and worried that your specific local game store is maybe unscrupulous and going to try and gouge you, charge you an extra, $20 for this Lorehold deck here? No problem, because there's a pre-order guarantee on Amazon for $36.98, a couple of bucks less than Target's MSRP, with free shipping. So if your local game store is trying to gouge, you can just go home and wait a few days and get whichever one of the 5 decks you want. They're all the same price at the pre-order guarantee, and get it for the intended price. And that discourages price hikes, or at least exorbitant ones, while also directing traffic to the local game store. Unreal. I am actually looking at how Wizards of the Coast is working with Amazon of all places, and I'm impressed. I like it. It's good for everyone. Ew. Unfortunately, distribution was a bit iffy on this, and most of the local game stores I've spoken to say that they received a very small allocation of their total commander decks, and as a result, either sold out or mostly sold out during pre-release weekend. But that is not a true statement for all stores. And even those stores that did sell out during pre-release weekend have the rest of their allocation arriving hopefully very soon, possibly even during this week or on Friday. So even if you go down to your local game store and they say, we sold them all out during pre-release weekend, they hopefully can also say, but we will have more in this Friday, which you can sign up for now, and still end up getting the commander deck before you would if you ordered on Amazon. Call your local game store, check with them. This is still excellent, and hopefully next time the allocation numbers will be much larger. Thanks to this arrangement with Amazon, the Hasbro Corporation is fostering small businesses and protecting consumers. Oh God, I taste metal. Am I having a stroke? Financial. Now, I want to stress this video is being released in a weird in-between time of sorts. As again, the official release is in a few days, but these hit local game stores a few days ago. Now, I sourced these numbers from a lot of different online marketplaces, and I tried to weed out some of the inflated pre-order prices that some stores have. They're not as accurate as I would like, but I feel they're still giving us a really good general sense of the value in these decks. But were you to buy all the individual cards from these decks as singles, the cost would be, as of the midpoint between pre-release and launch, Prismari Performance, $76.16, Silver Quill Statement, $110.65, Lorehold Legacies, $115.84, Quandrix Quandary, $100.07, Witherbloom Witchcraft, $100.30. As always, while it seems mind-blowing that buying these cards individually would cost more than that of the box, remember that these decks are 100 cards, and a lot of bulk dollar cards can still raise the roof of the deck value. And of course, prices will drop to adjust the value of the contents of each deck to its price that it's selling for. But yes, the price is raised by all that bulk. 20 cents, 30 cents each cards. These add up fast, especially when you're dealing with 100 total. But those 20-cent cards are just that, bulk, likely unwanted to the point that if you tried to sell them, you likely could not, and you're probably not going to make any money doing so. So let's look at these prices with all of the bulk cards not worth 50 cents removed. How does that affect the value of these decks? Prismari Performance still has 32 out of 100 cards worth more than 50 cents each. Total value of these is $60.09. Most valuable card in the deck is Veyran, Voice of Duality, at $5.99. Silver Quill Statement has 38 out of 100 cards worth more than 50 cents each. Total value of these is $94.52. Most valuable card in the deck is Cunning Rhetoric at $6.99. As a former professor who taught rhetorical analysis for 10 years, I approve. Did you notice my use of ethos there? Lorehold Legacies has 35 out of 100 cards worth more than 50 cents each. The total value of these is $105.47. Most valuable card in the deck is actually the overall most valuable card out of all 5 decks, Archaeomancer's Map at $19.99 each. Quandrix Quandary has 35 out of 100 cards worth more than 50 cents each. Total value here is $85.20. Most valuable card in the deck is a tie between both Essex Fractal Bloom and Guardian Augmenter at $6.99 each. Witherbloom Witchcraft has 34 out of 100 cards worth more than 50 cents each. The total value of these is $81.52. The most valuable card in the deck is Venser's Journal at $7.71 each. As usual, the majority of the cards of value in these decks are the new original Commander cards. Reprints still have some good hits like Venser's Journal, Alhamrit's Archive, Rite of Replication, and Thousand Year Elixir, to name a few. Gameplay. As always, evaluating the gameplay of pre-constructed decks, especially Commander decks, is going to be subjective and personal. I am going to admit a personal bias for the flavor of these decks, and whereas during testing with my playgroup I usually give away most of the precons as a way of saying thanks for helping me test these out and keep only 1 or 2 for myself, I kept all 5 this time because I wanted a Commander battle box with all 5 colleges in it, because that'll match my Ravnica Guild Kit 10-deck collection. Sorry friends, you can come over and play with them anytime. Wash your hands. Yes, the decks are reasonably balanced against one another, although as usual, not explicitly so. That wasn't the real design intent, and the real design intent is that any player can sit down with their playgroup, and even without any upgrades, put up a reasonable fight. Get some games in, and start to either plan out upgrades or try their hand at building their first deck using some of the components. But I feel this year's selection has a lot more for the established player than usual. As I mentioned earlier, the build around me design of many of these cards is incredibly enticing to many Commander players. And there's a swath of new cards that existing decks are going to want to gobble up or be built from. There's something here for everyone, new and old, but my priority and my emphasis is still upon the new player, and these decks check that box with gusto. If I were to personally rank the 5 decks, Lorehold is overwhelmingly my first pick, followed by a close second, very close second, by both Silver Quill and Quandrix Tide. Now that is not to say Witherbloom and Prismari are not still solid decks, and though if forced to rank, I would place them in 3rd, but I urge you to pursue whichever color combination excites and interests you most, and assure you that you will not be disappointed. Final conclusion: despite capitalism, Strixhaven Commander 2021 decks are absolutely worth it for players new and experienced. They allow brand new players to sit down and play the game right out of the box. and offer exciting new designs and decent reprints for those looking to tear apart and build up. The early access to local game stores is a wonderful move by Hasbro, as is their price guarantee on Amazon to help discourage gouging. I hope this system not only continues for future Commander sets, but is expanded for other products as well. Grade, no question, is a solid A. While I wasn't a fan of all 5 2020 decks being linked to the single plane of Ikoria, at Strixhaven it makes for exciting, memorable, and distinct gameplay experiences in each. Bravo, well done. I hate how much I love these, you greedy corporate brigands, squeezing every last drop from my addiction-riddled wallet. I hope very much this video has been of some help to you. You can help me out very much just by watching one more video of mine after this. That's it. Scroll back, see if there's one you missed. Type Tolarian into YouTube's search thing and then any other word and see what pops up. Click on that. Just do that, and that would help me more than liking, subscribing, leaving a comment, or sharing with a friend. Though sharing with a friend helps a lot too. Do that. And remember, these are available right now at your local game store. So why not, if they are at a reasonable price, if it is reasonable and safe for you to do so, go down and spend your money where you once, and hopefully will again soon, spend time playing this great game. And that's at your local game store.